Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 442 podcast. I'm Azar Mathani, and as always, I'm joined by the wonderful Tommy Sandy.
That's me.
And the boisterous Tony O.
Morning, boys. Yeah, boisterous. Okay.
Morning, boisterous Tony.
Boisterous Tommy. Yeah. I'm always keen to see when I get this week. Keen to see Tommy's new greetings, but looks like
he's given up on those very quickly. He seems to have realized that it's actually difficult coming up with something new to say every week, isn't it, Tommy?
Nah, my sayings kind of go with Chelsea's form. We're just comfortably mediocre, so I'll just keep it comfortably mediocre. I just keep it there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're finding comfort in the mediocrity, Tommy.
Hey, you learn. This is how you learn to just be at peace. So I'm there definitely.
Hey, you're still in the Champions League, so
yeah. That's where all the excitement comes from. So we got I guess the draw came out on Friday. So of course we get Real Madrid again. So,
oh really? I had not seen.
Oh, you didn't see it?
Oh
really?
Out of Europe, boys, couldn't care less.
You couldn't care.
Yeah.
So tell me tell you it's Chelsea versus Real Madrid. It's City versus Bayern. You have Milan versus Napoli, which also looks like a tasty matchup. And then Inter got Benfica. Okay, yeah. So
it's a good matchup.
And Tony, you'll enjoy this. The Chelsea, Madrid, and the City Bayern games are on the same side, so winner of those ones get to play each other in the semis.
Wonderful. Yeah. Okay. Good stuff. Good to know.
Yeah.
If we're talking Champions League, let's talk about Spurs to open things up, because they didn't get through in the Champions League, and they fucked up in the Premier League too. They threw away a 2-goal lead against Southampton, ended up drawing 3-3. Dubious penalty decision right at the end to get Southampton the chance to snake a point.
It's great acting from Ainsley.
Ainsley Maitland-Niles. Oscars were the week before Ainsley, but if I could nominate you, I would. That was just... I don't understand how that has gone to VAR and stayed up, but
I do.
That is the case with VAR.
Yep.
So at this point, we can understand, and it's just even more baffling that they could look at that and still just decide, no, we can't overturn the call. We can't do it. We can't do it for our boy on the pitch. He made the call. We can't do it.
Yeah, it's not clear and obvious, whatever that means. To be frank, I think even though it's never a penalty, right? But Tottenham are they have no ability to manage a game whatsoever. They were under the cosh for, I think, the entire second half. Even when they scored the 2 goals, they just were never dominant at any point in the game. Southampton had chances earlier. This team, they're just a strange team, man.
Mentally, they're just nothing. Absolutely zeros mentally.
Technically, physically, they just use Tommy's word mediocre throughout. I don't even think Kane is playing well. He's scoring goals, but I don't see him in games. And then he's just surrounded by draws. So, yeah.
Yeah.
If we're talking about not being happy with the team...
Oh, wait. Before you go.
Okay.
Theo, you were,
I shit-talked Theo Walcott last week. He got a goal and an assist.
He did.
Hey,
I told you.
Southampton, you're welcome.
Yeah.
Hey, if any other shit players need a decent week, let me know. I'll shit talk them on the pod the week before.
Walcott's good for a goal and an assist. His all-around game may be shit, but he's pretty consistently.
Hey,
wasn't that his first goal for 2 years or something?
Oh, it's been a while, yeah. When we get to Chelsea,
you can't call him consistent.
I'm talking through his career. No, he wasn't even playing before.
No,
Relax.
Shit.
Yeah.
Hey, Zay, when we get to Chelsea, just do the same about Koulibaly, and we're going to see if this works. Okay, just keep a note on that one.
I've been shit talking him from the start of the season, man. There's no saving
there's
him.
not
no
working.
saving that. Yeah.
But to get us back on track, we need to talk. We need to talk about Antonio Conte. Like, we can't go on without this.
Yeah, do you wanna just read this quote from his press conference? It was fantastic.
I don't know if I have it up, but I do. To quote the great man himself, "It is easy in this way. Tottenham's story is this: 20 years, there is the owner, and they never won something. But why? The fault is only for the club, or for every manager that stay here. I have seen the managers that Tottenham had on the bench. You risk to disrupt the figure of the manager and protect the other situation in every moment. Until now, I try to hide the situation, but now, no. Because I repeat, I do not want to see what I have seen today."
Is Chiellini on Conte's coaching staff? Like, honestly,
they were together at Juventus.
yeah, that's my point. All I could hear is it's the history of the Tottenham, like, throughout. It's just, yeah.
Well, I don't know if I've ever seen a manager take aim at his own club. Like, this man is trying so hard to get sacked.
When
He just wants his payout.
when exactly was Conte trying to hide the situation? Was it?
Yeah, that was.
Like,
Imagine if this was him trying to hide the situation before. What would it have been like if he wasn't hiding it?
You know, what's odd is that Tottenham Spurs spent money. You know what I mean? They actually got him signings that he was looking for, and I mean, there's a lot of blame to be thrown at Conte in this situation because he's had this team for a while and they've gone downhill since last season. I mean, they were okay last season, but it's been nothing but downhill since. And yeah, he's throwing the blame out on the players and, you know, management and the owner and all this. But it's like, yo, you got to look at yourself, buddy, and be like, you're not fixing anything out here either. And you got your players. You signed the players you wanted. He signed Perisic. I know Perisic scored this game. The guy's been terrible all season.
He's like 33.
Yeah,
of course he's terrible.
Exactly right. But, you know, Conte signing, you know, he had to have him.
Yeah. No, I agree. Like you said, they've spent money. Like, they've bought in Conte's players. I don't know.
You know, look, my thoughts are very clear on Conte. I think he's overrated. Hasn't won a European knockout game since 2013. Like, I don't know how this guy continues to get away with being a checkbook manager that underachieves personally. But hey, and when I listened to this press conference, at first I was just like, you know what, this is just Conte just, you know, doing the usual, blaming everyone by himself. But there is a lot of truth in what he says, right? Because I think what he was actually trying to point out, it wasn't even that he was blaming the owners. It was just like, the media go for everyone except the players. Like, the players are so protected at Tottenham. Like, when have you ever heard anyone have a go at, like, say Harry Kane, for instance, right? Like, think of all the big moments in Tottenham's, like, well, history. Yeah, let's say history. Well, Kane is...
That's a loaded word to throw around there. But I do get what you're saying, and I do agree. Like, you do have a point where the players are, at least certain players, I would say, are quite protected at Spurs.
They always under-deliver. They always. And the media are just like, oh, it's the manager. So Poch is out. Oh, it's the manager. So Conte is out. It's like, at some point in time, like, this group of players, maybe they're just mentally weak, you know? Like,
I will say, though, back when Solskjaer got fired at Man United and everyone was saying, I'll get Conte to United, I was happy when he went to Spurs.
Yeah, fair enough.
This is what Conte does. He comes in, he'll throw a bunch of cash around, and in like 2 years he'll burn the bridges.
Yep.
And then everyone else has to pick up the pieces.
Overrated
yeah,
coach.
he's definitely he's definitely hurt his reputation. I don't know if he's realizing or not. I mean, I'm sure he'll still get
He'll go back to
some
Italy.
top job or Juve or something like that next season or something like that. But he's certainly hurt his reputation here with Spurs. And you know what? They're honestly, I think out of spite, they're not going to fire him. It's like they got 2 months left. He's going to stay, and he's gonna be completely unhappy about it. And I think that's going to be the Spurs way.
They're
You know
still
what? You're
fourth.
staying
Hey,
here.
tell you
Yeah.
what is more content for us.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Don't know they're still fourth, but whatever. Yeah.
I mean, they might not be for long because
Yeah.
Newcastle seem to be rounding back into form. But before we talk about that, let's drop a little further down the table.
Yeah.
Tommy,
Keep scrolling. Oh, there
keep
it is.
scrolling.
Okay.
Chelsea 2, Everton 2, a late equalizer from, don't want to get his name wrong, is it Jonah Sims? No, that's a character from Superstore. Ellis Sims. That's who it is.
I think that was his first goal for Everton, and yeah, he's been shocking. But
I'm sorry, the guy wears like number 50 on his back. I apologize for not knowing his first name.
yeah, Tommy, please just explain the football
I'll
club.
I'll just
If you could, Tommy, sim up what happened in this
That
game for
might be a
us.
worst ever.
well,
Tom.
no.
Is it really?
No,
Do you
there's
see
been
some of the
worse.
dross I've come
It's
out
up
with,
there.
and you're gonna call that my
It's
worst
up
ever?
there. Yeah.
Tony.
Would you say
Tony.
up there? Would you say down there?
You know what? Potter was interviewed earlier in the week. He's like, I'll quote him. He's like, "We will try to beat Everton. We'll take the draw, and then we will fucking win the Champions League." That's it. We'll take the draw. Now we're winning the Champions League. There we go. That's all I need to hear.
He's an odd guy, man. Like Potter. It's just, I don't know, man. He's an odd guy. Yeah. You see these things when you're in this. Like he wasn't protected, but the limelight was never on him at Brighton. But at Chelsea, you just realize he's he doesn't really portray authority when he speaks. But
Going back to this game, I don't think get 2-2 late winner for our late equalizer. Like I said, I thought Chelsea played overall. Like the first half was pretty, nothing really happened, but I thought Chelsea played pretty well for the most part. João Felix got a nice goal. Of course, he has to hit the post to get it in, because why wouldn't he? That's all he does.
Hell of a finish.
Yeah, it was a fantastic finish. Yeah, touch and then quickly got the shot off.
I'm very happy he's only on loan at Chelsea.
Yeah, I mean he's looked really good besides that red card he got, he's looked really good, and even he looked good in that game too. So when his plays look great. We got a penalty in this game too, and Havertz with another goal. So happy with that. The problem I have with this game is that I thought Potter just got his subs wrong. We put Gallagher on as a sub all the time. He's almost guaranteed, and he did not look comfortable out there. We subbed in Loftus-Cheek. We subbed in Chalobah. Mudryk, which could have really, got into this game to just run at Everton a bit more, who were coming at us. We didn't get him on. Chukwuemeka came on.
What was the point of signing Mudryk for 90 million or whatever it was?
So we couldn't have him.
Yeah, just
okay.
so Arsenal can have him. Pretty much. See, that's what it looks like right now. Because there's
no plan for him at Chelsea. It's career suicide. I don't know why he's done that, but I mean I know why he's been forced out. But Jesus, yeah.
Yeah. So I think just the subs from Potter, I think, could have been a lot better in terms of game management there when we were up 2-1, just, to control the game and still actually have some attacking threat out there. That being said, when you can drop your shoulder and then Koulibaly is just sent packing that easily, doesn't matter what you do. He got absolutely skinned on the goal.
He tucked Koulibaly into bed.
He's so slow, man.
Koulibaly looked old. He looked old.
And then
how old is he? He's 31, Koulibaly?
I think he's 31 or 32. Yeah.
He was 30. He was 31 at the start of that Sims run. He was 35, 36 by the end of it. That man, you could see the man age as he was running.
He used to be
it was
quicker
way
than
too
this.
easy.
Yeah.
And then that being said, the shot as well. I'm sorry, but Kepa, you have to save it. It's just he doesn't get down quick enough. It's not he's not stretch his arm out. It's really like just under his his arm.
Tommy,
you gotta save it.
he did stretch his arm out. He just has little T-Rex arms.
Yeah, that was the problem.
We're talking about Kepa or Pickford?
We're talking about Kepa. Yeah,
Bit of both, really.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, Kepa is what he is. I hope he's still your number one next season.
No, that's gonna be a big. I hope we solve that goalkeeping problem. Mendy is
he injured right now?
He is. As far as I know, he's still injured.
Okay.
And I'm not sure. Maybe I think Potter does prefer Kepa.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
But I think goalkeeping in the summer is going to be an issue that I hope we address. But hey, listen, guys, we are in mid-table. We are not getting out of mid-table. So these Premier League results at this point, just like all my chips.
Aston Villa are catching up on you.
Oh yeah, we're equal on points.
Yeah, you're just about on page one, Tommy.
Just about, yeah. You only got to scroll too far just yet. But yeah, like I said at the start of the show, we got Real Madrid in the Champions League, and that's where all the marbles are at. And if you remember last season, it was a crushing defeat, but a great matchup. And we've played Real Madrid
I do not
3 times in it was Benzema.
It was like one of Madrid's several comebacks.
Yeah, huge comeback on us. But I think it should be a cracking matchup, and we'll see how that goes. But yeah, that's all that's really said about Chelsea. Just mediocre. That's all it is right there.
I am enjoying it. Let's move on to a team that is decidedly not mediocre this season. Arsenal slapped Crystal Palace 4-1. I guess it's 2 teams that are not mediocre, just in very different ways. But Palace, a couple of days on from the sacking of Patrick Vieira. They're 13 games without a win in the Premier League after this one.
5 goals in 2023. After
Jesus,
this one.
That's worse than Chelsea, man. Jeez.
I'm not actually sure if they're worse than Chelsea, but yeah. Look, Vieira's name was being sung throughout the game, really. Palace weren't. Well, they were enemy number 1 for the sacking of Arsenal's legendary captain. But look, he's had a poor run. I'll just talk about that situation quickly because I think Palace are in trouble. They're not very obviously in a relegation scrap, I think, based on league position. But when you look at the standings,
it's 3 points. They're in it for sure.
Yeah, they can get drawn into it really, really quickly. I think they're in the worst form in the league, right? At the moment, they've lost their last 4 games. You don't see where the goals are going to come from. And it's always strange when you sack a manager without having one lined up, right? Because, I don't know who they're going to...
That's the thing that stuck out to me. I was expecting them to at least have someone announced by this game.
Well, who's available?
Considering,
Roy
Hudson.
Roy.
That's the talk right now.
It is
Roy
the talk.
Hudson
It's
coming back.
It's just lazy.
It's not smart.
Yeah,
it's not. Yeah.
It's just lazy.
I thought we'd move. Like, look at who the other teams around the relegation area. Like, look who they've appointed. Like, it's Javi Garcia at Leeds. Managers of that caliber. Lopetegui at Wolves.
Has Southampton hired anyone?
Palace. Yes. Ruben Sellers.
Oh yes. Okay. Yeah.
Their form has improved greatly.
It has
since then.
Yeah.
And then if you see all those managers getting appointed, and even like Sean Dyche at Everton, and then you see Palace appoint like a retiree in Roy Hodgson, that does not send a good message out.
No.
Yeah, but they haven't done. And you know what? Yeah,
They haven't done it yet.
Yeah.
They haven't done it yet. But I will be concerned if they do.
They have 2 weeks to figure it out.
Yeah, they have international break. I think that's why they probably banked on doing it now, and they have 2 weeks to look for it. Honestly, I think, like you mentioned the run of form, and yeah, that's sacking material. So I will
say
not
though,
surprised.
Palace have had a pretty difficult run since the start of the year. I think they've only played one team in the lower half of the table who they beat. I think it was Bournemouth. I mean, the stats are damning, right? But I looked at Palace in their last game against Brighton, was it? And they were pretty good in that game. It wasn't like the players had, down tools on the manager like you typically see. But hey, it is what it is. It's a tough job. That's the job, right? You lose 5 games, you're in danger of getting sacked. On the Arsenal,
You don't get a shot on target in 3 of them. Gets even worse.
They did score in this one though, and
They did score in this one, but it was just like if they'd missed the chance that they did get, that would have been like it was the ball dropped right at I forget who even scored for Palace.
Jeffrey Schlupp.
very
Yeah,
lucky.
the ball just dropped right at his feet from like a bounce off Odegaard or something at a corner. If he had missed that one, there's grounds to get subbed off.
Yeah,
I mean, Zaha had a few chances too, and he just can't put a score at this moment either.
yeah.
Could have made a closer game. Yeah.
There was one Ramsdale did well on, good save onto the post. Yeah, on the Arsenal side of things, it was just good to see them bounce back. I'm not gonna miss the Europa League, man. It is a shit competition. I'm sorry. Like, we've been in this competition for 6-7 years. I think I've enjoyed 2 of the games. Arsenal have just not embraced the competition. Maybe went on in Wenger's last season and Emery's first, but other than that, we see it.
I mean, you should try drawing Barcelona in it. It ends up being quite fun.
Well, you guys are on a Spanish tour down there. Arsenal didn't have that. Yeah.
Yeah, we're getting distracted, but like we've played like 20% of La Liga this season. I've had enough of it. I've had enough.
I think it's gonna be good for your guys' title push, man. Not having Europa in that extra game in, it's a blessing.
Yeah, I mean, it's a blessing in disguise. Yeah, when I saw Trossard and Vieira try stupid back heels in the box in extra time when they had chances to shoot, I was just like, okay, you guys clearly don't care about this. I'm not going to get exercised about it. Yeah, Saka, young player of the season, surely. I think that's a sure.
Yeah.
It's
pretty much
contender for player of the season.
His finishing.
I was gonna say, like
incredible.
he's if nothing else, he's in like the top 5 actual players of the season for sure.
Yeah, double digits for goals and assists. Yeah, special kid. He and Martinelli.
Martinelli bouncing back from his missed penalty in midweek as well.
It's a great finish.
Yeah.
How many?
I mean, the moment they went 1-0 up, I felt like the game was done, which is very different to the Arsenals of previous years.
How many assists does Trossard have since he joined Arsenal? Just
man,
like every game,
he's
he's
been
assisting.
7?
He's been 7. Well, 6 or 7. Trossard has been transformational, man. Remember, I was talking about how we were struggling to break down deep blocks with Eddie up front. Like, Trossard has come in and just fixed that issue. Now we have Jesus back. We don't even have to rush him back because Trossard is doing so well. Like, the Xhaka goal, Xhaka's in the center forward position and Trossard's in midfield. It's a great combination to get Xhaka in. Ever since he's come back, that left-hand side has just been solved. Martinelli's looking good. Xhaka's looking good again. We are officially in the running, guys. 10 games left. So,
Yep.
8-point lead, right?
It's a mini league after the international break.
yeah.
Sprint to the finish.
Tough April. But, yeah. We can talk about that next week, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Let's move down to the top 4 race where Newcastle picked up a late win against Forest. I mean, they dominated this game. I don't think there's any qualms in terms of them winning it. But, late penalty, just a silly handball from...
Diakite?
I can't even remember which forward.
I think it was Diakite.
Oh, it was Diakite.
Yeah.
Well, I thought you said it was Thiago Silva. Tony. Yeah.
Yep, basically. It's a Thiago
His
Silva
best
handball.
Thiago Silva
It's just
impression.
Crazy. And you know what? He then holds his face like, "Oh, I'm so hurt."
like-
but
Like, my friend, we have video replays now. You can't get away with this.
Yeah,
It's just so bad.
yeah. They finally dropped Wilson. Started Isaac up front. Even his first goal was really.
His
good
first goal was
finish.
outstanding.
Yeah, he's a
The
good player. Yeah.
I think there was some work he did to set up a goal that got ruled out for offside that was a mess of a decision. I don't think it was correct at all. But just, their forward line looks so much better when he plays. It's so much more fluid. It's so much more threatening.
He is a player that if they get better players around him, he can really explode. I think Isaac.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm not looking forward
As
to it.
as long as he can stay fit,
Yeah.
because he's looked fantastic this season when he plays, and that's just a big question mark around him right now.
Yeah, I think this is his first season struggling with injury, so hopefully for his sake, it's not something that turns into an issue. But yeah, he's a player I really like, and Newcastle needed that win with Liverpool starting to breathe down their necks. So yeah, they're still in a very healthy position for top four, I think.
Yep, I believe they are 2 points behind Spurs. They've won their last two. They have 2 games in hand on Spurs as well, and this keeps them 5 points ahead of Liverpool, like you said,
They're
with
3
the
points.
same number of games played.
They're 3 points behind you. Ooh.
Yeah,
Yeah,
not too
they are.
far. Oh, yeah.
You guys you've been dragged well into this. I didn't even realize that. Yeah,
Yeah, last couple of games have been rough for us in the Prem.
yeah.
And then we won't have Casemiro for the next 3, I think. So
Oh, yeah.
it'll be interesting.
That's true. Forgot about that. Yeah.
Scott McTominay, come on down. But let's move on. We had a relegation clash. I mean, half the table's in a relegation scrap, so any game could be one. But Wolves 2, Leeds 4 in an absolutely insane game. Leeds went 3-0 up in this one, despite Wolves creating every single kind of chance imaginable. And then Leeds were in the process of throwing it away. I mean, Johnny scored just an absolutely gorgeous goal from midfield. Just beautifully controlled lob, I guess. First time volley.
After Melia, yeah, had cleared the ball.
Yeah, I mean, I can't even blame Melier on that one. He headed it out well. It just bounced off someone else and popped up for Johnny.
You know what that reminded me of? I don't know if you guys remember in the Champions League, and nowhere near as good. But when
Dejan Stankovic.
the young Neuer, and Stankovic with that beautiful one.
That is just.
No, that was different. That was
was
next level, though.
That was.
That one was
Yeah,
next
that
level.
was just.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely way better.
Full side-on volley, just ridiculous goal from Stankovic. If anyone hasn't seen that Stankovic goal, YouTube it. It is worth the time.
Leeds had
But,
4 shots on target. Scored all 4.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I mean, Wolves just capitulated when they had the game in their hands. It's 2-3. They had 10 minutes or so left. They were absolutely smashing Leeds at this point. Johnny goes and gets himself sent off.
You see
And
why
then-
the previous managers have gone very defensive with Wolves. Because when you try to play with them, they're just not compact at all. They just leak goals. But, yeah.
Then you have Adama Traore falling over at the end trying to claim a foul. And then Leeds just continue to play because there's no whistle blown and score. And Wolves lose their shit. I think someone on their bench managed to get sent off as well. So
Lots of that this week.
Oh, I can't wait to get to that. But yeah, great result for Leeds. Drags them up to 26 points. So they are 2 above the relegation zone.
Just a weird
Yeah,
season.
what I love is that this kind of matches what we're going to have, every week going in now. It's just those teams are going to be absolutely battling for their lives, and they're going to produce wild games like this. So we're in for a treat for sure with those relegation battles.
You know, I thought Wolves were going to start pulling away from the relegation zone a little bit, but now they've lost their last two, and they're right back in it. They're only 3 points off. It's like everyone from 12th downwards, like, you could make a very good case for them going down.
Yeah.
Let's move on to Aston Villa 3, Bournemouth 0. I mean, comfortable win for Villa. Bournemouth, who did they beat last time?
Liverpool.
I'm just looking at their form. Oh, right.
That's right. We can't let Liverpool escape this podcast.
Yeah, he may not have played, but I will shit talk. But yeah, just comfortable for Villa. Bournemouth stay 19th in the table, 24 points. I mean, just like we said, it's close. They're just 1 point off from safety. But they do have the worst goal difference in the league.
54 goals conceded. Good lord, that's 2 goals a game. That is terrible, man. Like, how are they even 19th? Like, oh yeah, man. This Bournemouth team, I don't get it. Like, I don't know how they win games when they do, but yeah, that is awful. Okay, I'll shut up. I'll stop beating up Bournemouth now.
Poor Bournemouth. They lose 3-0 to Aston Villa. You're still shit-talking them, but...
Shocking.
Yeah, I mean, it was just very... I mean, Villa it was 1-0 for a long time in this game because Douglas Luiz scored early on and then Jacob Ramsey didn't get the second until, like, the 80th minute. But, never really felt like Villa were in danger. They had double the shots that Bournemouth did. 3 times the shots on target. Had more possession. Yeah, easy. Villa will take that every week. Chelsea, they're coming for you. Coming for that top half spot.
If they want 10th, they can have it. I mean, we'll just take 11th. Yeah. Okay.
Just accepting it at this point.
At this point, yeah.
I mean, what's the difference? 10th, 11th? Who cares? It's like top half, bottom half. Come on.
You have to
have some self-respect, Tommy. Have some self-respect.
You want to finish in the top half, at least.
Okay, yeah. You go. Let's motivate the players. Okay, boys. We're gonna finish 10th to this season. Let's go for it. Let's go out hard. Yeah, that's really gonna motivate them. Yeah.
Oh, round off the Premier League action with Brentford 1, Leicester 1. I mean, Brentford will be disappointed with that, but hey, Leicester finally dropped Danny Ward, played Iverson in net instead, and I don't know if he did anything particularly great, but he didn't chuck one into his own net, and sometimes that's all you can ask for from a Leicester goalie.
Yep. I liked Harvey Barnes' goal. He needs to make... I don't know why he doesn't make more of those runs, like central runs from the wing. Yeah, they need it.
He's had a good goal-scoring season amidst all the
really
shit.
I didn't realize he had, so I was about to say Leicester need more from him.
He's at like 6 or 7. I think he's the only non-Madison player who's done
goals.
Something.
You know what?
He's got 9.
Yeah.
Fair enough. He's done even better than I thought.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, but Leicester still haven't won in like the last 5 games. So
once Jamie Vardy's legs went, they just went downhill. He was carrying
all the striker replacements they've signed have just not been it. They've not lived up to it.
He's a hard one to replace, to be fair. Vardy, he was special. Yeah. So.
Well, when you're signing Faiz instead of an actual striker, it's hard to.
Well,
they needed a centre back as well.
Yeah,
unfortunately, Faiz was the
you should have just left it at when you signed Faiz.
Yeah.
Left it at that.
Let's move on to the FA Cup, and we have to start with Man United 3, Fulham 1, because wow, what a shit show. I don't think I've ever seen a team manage to self-sabotage themselves so completely in the span of 1 minute.
I was watching this game thinking to myself, I can't remember the last time United played well. Because
we are tired.
Yeah,
we are absolutely we've been playing midweek every single week since the start of January. Maybe even like a week or so before that, and it's showing. Like, we have injuries, we have suspensions. We are tired.
It really showed, because you guys were yeah, you were not in this game. Fulham were comfortably the better team. And then Jadon Sancho goes through on goal. I think he should score with his left foot, but yeah.
No. Tony,
Yeah.
you don't understand.
Uh-huh.
He has done the Doctor Strange thing
Right.
from Infinity Wars. He has looked at every single possible outcome, and he has picked the one that suits the team best. He could stick this one in the net. He probably should stick this one in the net, but he knows. He knows that if he takes that extra touch and delays, Willian's going to come across, stick a hand out, paw it off the line, and then all hell is going to break loose.
I'm so glad I'm
It's-
done with that era
It's brilliant.
of Willian
It's brilliant.
and,
It's
and David Luiz. It was very David Luiz that moment. Turning one bad moment into 5 bad moments.
You know,
But the thing is,
he didn't have
Willian
to.
is the one I
Just let it
blame
go.
the least
Yeah.
in all of this. I don't understand Fulham losing their minds over that decision.
I think
because that's.
I think Mitrovic was
just-
upset he didn't get a penalty earlier. I mean, the earlier decisions, like, whatever.
All right.
But
then why is Marco Silva going off? I don't understand. Marco Silva should be trying to keep his players in control at this point. He is the manager. He's the first one sent off.
I would say my guess is they probably think it wasn't a handball for some reason. Maybe they didn't see the footage and were just thinking maybe they didn't believe
they
it.
didn't
or,
think
like,
it was a
going
red
furious
card.
by it.
They didn't think it was a red card. They thought
okay.
the red card was harsh. Willian is trying to chest it, but yeah, he just gets it
But
terribly wrong.
if it's a handball on the goal
Yeah,
line,
it's
like
automatic.
I mean, what else are you gonna do?
He knew.
right?
He knew too. Like he's the one that's least complaining. He saw the car. He's like, damn it. You know, everyone else just loses it. You know what I love about this? I forget who it was, but Luke Shaw and one of the Fulham players,
Tete.
they're just hugging it out. You know, everyone else is kind of like complaining here and there. These guys just, you know.
Why are
going
we
for a hug.
fighting? Why are we
Exactly.
fighting? It's
nice
just
to see.
football.
Nice to see that.
Just ridiculous. And I mean, with that 1 minute, the game was done. It's 11-9. United go on to win 3-1.
Yeah. Bruno sticks it away. Sabitzer gets his first. I was really surprised that's his first goal. Because he's
Yeah,
gone
what a
into.
goal too.
It was a brilliant finish. He's a good finisher.
It's just I'm still trying to wrap my head around that how he finished that, because if I tried that, I would fall flat on my face.
It felt just like the Man City game, where the injustice of the moment kind of just left them reeling, and you guys just blitz, scored 2 goals in quick succession. I think it was Rashford that scored. Was it both that day against Man City? I can't remember. But the offside goal, and then
it was, yeah.
I think it was Rashford that scored both.
It was Fernandez scored the offside one, then Rashford got the other.
Oh right, Rashford was offside. So yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, United. You play who next? Brighton. That's a tough one.
Brighton, that's a difficult game.
Yeah.
But you know what? It's chalk on another midweek game for us. It's never ending.
Yeah.
Oh, we're gonna be just all these players are gonna be exhausted. And now they get to go on international games, and I don't know if you guys could fake some injuries, that would be nice.
Are you at all worried that by chasing all these competitions, you're gonna?
Oh, I am.
Okay.
I am extremely worried.
Yeah.
We've seen the fatigue creep in, whereas before, if we were playing if we'd have control for 70 minutes of a game, that started dropping to 60 to 50 to a half. So yeah, that's definitely a worry. The hope is that maybe we can get a few players back. Christian Eriksen's supposed to come back sometime in April. He would be very useful. Casemiro is missing for a few more games.
The one you can't lose is
I don't know.
Rashford. You can't lose Rashford.
Yes, if Rashford goes, our season goes.
Yeah.
Garnacho's out for a bit as well.
Mm-hmm.
Anthony Martial.
Forget about it.
Who knows?
He's not a footballer.
Yeah.
It would be nice. It would be nice to have him back for the one game he would be back for. Just to rotate a few other players. But yeah, that is the concern right now. Is just these players are just being pushed to the absolute limit in terms of game time.
Yeah, your Champions League spot right now is looking precarious, considering you were a lot higher before. Yeah, but hey, can't blame the guy for going. He's trying to win, right? So
I was just look. Yeah, you play the games in front of you, right?
yeah.
I mean, speaking of playing the games in front of you, City certainly played Burnley, slapped them 6-0. Erling Haaland with his second hat trick in the span of a week. How many goals does that take him to for the season?
It's like 42, man. I'm so tired of this guy. Yeah.
Fuck.
Oh, so Tony, I don't know if you watched Champions League, but he scored 5 in the Champions League midweek.
Right.
Did you see
that's
that?
That's what it was.
I'm just so tired. Yeah. This guy's a monster.
Considering he was like considered out of form before that Champions League hat trick, and he should have had like 5 goals in 10 games or something like that, and that's considered out of form for him. That's not fair.
Yeah, some scary
it's
goals.
Just not fair.
For
Like, why are you sending this guy out against a championship team? I don't care if they're first in the championship; they're still in the championship. They should not be allowed. Their backup is Julian Alvarez, who came on and scored 2. Just start with Alvarez. Why are you starting Haaland against these guys?
I liked his last goal. Actually,
is this how they treat Vincent Kompany and Club Legend? Horrendous behavior. How did you do this?
In the build-up, all I was hearing about is how Kompany is this new special coach, and he just gets slapped 6 by his apprentice, or his mentor. Or it's just, yeah.
Yeah, there was
goals, man.
there was a stat. Yeah, there was a stat that the last I don't know 4 or 5 matchups between City and Burnley, City outscored them like 30-1 or something like that. It's some ridiculous number, but it's just been absolute one-sided. But not surprising, that's for sure.
The guys come in.
Poor Burnley.
He's made this
Yeah, they had a good FA Cup run, but. Jeez, you always worried for them once they drew City, and now City get Sheffield United in the semi-final. So
City always get the tough draws, eh?
Yeah.
I don't think Jose can talk on that. You've had a pretty good ride this season in the Cubs.
Ours has not been bad.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, we've got a few Premier League teams in the FA Cup, but they've all been at home, so I can't complain too much. But yeah, the other FA Cup results, as we've already alluded to, Brighton ending League 2 Grimsby's fairy tale run with a 5-0 slapping, and Sheffield United beating Blackburn 3-2 in an all-championship clash.
I always love the FA Cup for this, because it's just one random team in the semi-final that gets slapped. It's just, how did you get this far? It's always the question, but yeah.
Man, I really wanted Grimsby to somehow make it through. Like, I didn't think they'd have a chance against Brighton, but
22 shots.
It would have been how great. Yeah, how great would it be if Grimsby from League 2 managed to wander into the? I mean, they'd already knocked out Southampton, which is more of a damning indictment on Nathan Jones than anything else. But
I would like the Premier League or whoever, the English FA, to give a Champions League spot to the team that wins the FA Cup, just so it's taken more seriously in general, and it gives smaller teams a chance to have a special season the next year. Because
I think they get a Europa League
but who
spot
cares
right
about
now,
that?
Right?
Sorry, no one cares about that.
Just because you don't.
No, I'm sorry, no one cares about that. It's just that it's clearly not a motivation for most teams, but Champions League.
What if you gave if the team wasn't a Prem team, they get automatic promotion to the Premier League?
That's terrible. You can't do that. That's just
all right. Yeah. This is why we don't run football leagues. We leave that up to the more corrupt among us. But I mean, we're talking about tell you what, the time Wigan won the FA Cup, if they'd ended up in the Champions League off that would have been kind of fun.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Champions League and Championship in the same season.
As it was Europa League and Championship. It was no one cares about that. It's just, yeah.
That's still pretty funny.
Yeah.
But I mean, thinking back on Wigan and stuff, I don't know. We wanted to kind of discuss about how football has changed from when we started watching, which would have been early to mid 2000s, late 90s to early to mid 2000s. I got you, Tony. Don't worry.
Tommy's older than me, is it? It's just
Is he?
Yes.
Yeah, like by a month. No, by a week.
By a year. What are you talking about?
Oh, by a year. Sorry, yeah. Sorry.
Hilarious, man. Tommy. Jesus.
I remember you were both Novembers. So I was like,
Okay.
Gotcha.
Jesus Christ.
You've thrown his air. Yeah.
I'm gone. I'm gone.
No, I was watching an old podcast that Ben Foster did, the podcast, which is really good, by the way. Like his.
No. You should not be listening to other podcasts. This is your only source of football-related content.
Yeah. I was not cheating on the pod. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
That's right, Tony.
Right.
No, he's just doing his research. That's all.
That's what I thought, but
Mm-hmm.
apparently it's in my contract. I'm not allowed to talk to anyone else or watch anything
Exactly.
else.
It's a very, very strict no compete clause.
Yeah, I was not. And whatever. Yeah, Ian. It was with Ian Wright, and Ian Wright made a point that he just mentioned now back in the day, like a player of his quality, it was really difficult to break into like the England setup because you think of the strikers they had back then. There was what's it called? Alan Shearer was there, but then there was Andy Cole, Teddy Sheringham. Like Robbie Fowler, like there were just all these names, and then they went on to really reminisce on how every team had like a special player back then, like a superstar, and how player quality was kind of spread out. And you just looked across Europe, it was the same thing. I think, for instance, Joaquin was at Real Betis at one point. Is he at Real Betis now?
He might
there.
still
Yeah,
be there.
he's gone
I
back
think
there.
he's still there.
Yeah, he's gone back there after a few spells in different places. But yeah, you had Joaquin. You look at all the big, like a club like Villarreal had Riquelme, right? They had Riquelme, who was special. It's just, yeah, it got me wondering now. Like, I know the players are more athletic and stuff, but is football better now than it used to be, or are we just sentimental because that was our time watching football, like as a kid? I guess I don't know.
I do think a lot of it probably comes down to sentimentality, but another thing I do think is that there was a lot more expression on the pitch back then as opposed to now. You think of someone like Ronaldinho, and the way he played. I'm like, I don't know if I've seen that since, or anyone who plays quite like he did at the level he did in the modern era. Like, you think of him and the original Ronaldo, Phenomenal. Like, those are the two guys that I first watched that made me fall in love with the game.
This is why, by the way, I don't beat up on guys like Neymar, because like he is maybe one of the last ones who
he's the closest we have to that in terms of someone who just goes out there and actually does all the tricks.
Yeah, apart from Anthony, of course. Yeah.
Hey, look, it's a Brazilian thing. You gotta do the tricks.
Yeah, you gotta be good too. I don't know. How many superstars do we have in the league or in the world right now? Back then, we probably had like 15 to 20. Like, they don't really have superstars anymore. Of like the Premier League, for instance. What? Erling Haaland is maybe the only one. And by superstar, I'm not talking player quality. I'm talking like the complete package, like the personality as well. Like, yeah. We don't really have characters.
Does Erling Haaland have a personality?
No,
No.
he does. Come on, I know we joke about his
football
robot
robot.
himself, but
He's a football robot.
have you heard him in press conference, like in interviews? Like
He is a good interview. He is a good interview.
Yeah.
Like, it is interesting where I do think there's such a level of media training now that it does strip away. Like, I'm sure the players outside of football have their own like personalities and stuff, but like when they're media facing, they're so heavily trained at this point, especially in the Premier League, that you don't quite get it anymore. Like, you still get a fair bit from the managers, I reckon, see
Yeah.
Antonio Conte this week.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is. It does feel like it's less so with the players, but then again, that could just be me with my nostalgia glasses on.
Like Chelsea has spent
Yeah.
a billion pounds on players this season, and I don't know if we have anyone in that group that you'd call a bona fide superstar. Like back in the day, Drogba, you had Drogba, you had Lampard.
Lampard.
Yeah, I don't know. I
I know.
just, yeah. So
I think it's like just a different era. We're comparing different eras, in this era of football, just that sort of stuff isn't. We're maybe not seeking it out in players as much. You know what I mean? It's all about. It's more, I think, just all about what are you doing on the pitch. You know,
What-
what are you contributing to the team, as opposed to, I think you're getting that from their social media. You know what I mean? Like back then with players, you were mentioning personalities. Like we didn't have social media back then, so we didn't know about these players in other ways besides what they're expressing in interviews or on the pitch, or what we're hearing news stories about, parties or this sort of thing or whatever, right? Nowadays, a player can just go on the guy's Instagram and be like, oh, okay, that's what they're doing. This is what's going on. Follow here, follow that.
I will
but
say, back in the day, we heard about the party starting.
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm saying. You heard about the parties, but like, how did you hear
The
about
tabloids,
it? In tabloids,
were
right?
aflame with them.
Yeah, and then that's how they gain this, like, international fame and status, because you're reading this on the news as opposed to just seeking it out on a social media.
I wouldn't call it news.
Yeah.
News, whatever you're saying, but it's like, but
It's very generous to some of those quote-unquote newspapers.
yeah, no, that's a fair point.
But
it's,
is this the first generation that's like this then, where we don't have these characters anymore, both in terms of playing style, but also expression? It probably is, I guess, because I can't think of an era in football where, we didn't have at least a little bit of. I guess it just feels like, other than someone like Mbappe, who everybody loves, or Cristiano Ronaldo and Messi from before, it just feels like, it's a bit.
I think it's just players have also, especially from a younger level, especially with going to academies at a younger age and all this,
Yeah.
they're a lot more professional,
You're right.
and just from the early on age, so you don't get these, kids, growing up playing on the streets where they're developing this sort of like, more carefree attitude, which will also be displayed on the pitch. It's just like you're being in a system right away, and you want to make your career as long as possible. You're doing all these things to get a better contract and all this stuff, right? So you want to do that for yourself, for your team, to maximize the amount of money you can make in that certain time. All this kind of goes in there, right? Whereas I don't think players are really thinking about that as much, back in the day. It's just a different world, right? It's like,
Well, there's more money to be made now, right? And players are cognizant of that. Yeah, football's evolved, for better or worse, I guess. But it has, and it'll continue to do that. Like, players generally care a lot more about their diet and their fitness and stuff outside of that. Like, you're not seeing like the stuff that you saw in the 80s and 90s of like players going on benders and then showing up to training drunk. Like, sure, it occasionally must happen.
Yeah,
still,
we still get
because
the occasional.
Oh, yeah.
we still Kyle Walker is sometimes in the news.
Yeah.
But it's not. It doesn't seem to be as common anymore as it was, and that's just a culture shift in how top clubs in Europe and stuff are run. They're not run like just the professionalization of every aspect of football, from like U7s up. Like, you look at the technical level of coaching that these little kids are getting, as opposed to like kids playing on the street. The reason like a lot of Brazilians are still the ones doing the tricks and stuff is because of the upbringing. Like, we'll rag on Anthony for, like, all the shit and all that, but, like, he did grow up playing in, like, the random pitches in the favelas and stuff like that, and that's why they do tricks.
I don't rag
that's
on him
what
for
you
the
do
tricks. I rag on him for being
No,
shit.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm saying ragging on him aside from that, and I was just using him as an example because he was at the forefront of my mind.
Yeah.
But it's all. I think Tommy hit the nail on the head in terms of like talking about like how young players start in academies and stuff now.
Yeah.
Because in academy, you're given structure, right? There's a lot less sort of like just freedom. Go out there with the ball and just try things.
So the question I think Tony had also earlier was, is football better now than it was, say, when we started watching? I don't know if you can really answer that question. You know, comparing
It's
different
different.
eras, it's different,
right?
Yeah,
I think the quality of football is better, actually. The standard is higher. Like, they're better athletes and they're better professionals. I just don't think we get superstars anymore. I think that's what it boils down to. We used to have so many before. Personnel, like, you asked 50 guys who their best players were, and you get maybe 15 to 20 players, right? Like 50 kids. You'd have Shevchenko,
Hey, I mean,
Ronaldo,
look at how
Henry,
the
Zidane, like Nedved.
look at how the Ballon d'Or was spread out before
exactly.
Messi and Ronaldo took it over.
Yeah. Now it's just, you ask a kid, who's your favorite player now? I guarantee you it's Mbappe. Like, it's just Mbappe.
It's either Mbappe or Haaland.
I'm not even seeing Haaland. I'm not even seeing how, like,
No?
Not really. It's Mbappe. It's just Mbappe because he's the only one who plays with a bit of flair, but is actually, consistently producing. Right? Neymar has kind of disappeared. So,
Tony, I was going to add, like, coaching youth soccer. I was surprised to see, because we had people were like putting on a board, they'd have a color in the jersey and write in your favorite player. Neymar was getting mentioned quite a bit.
Yes, he does actually.
Yeah,
he does.
He does
I'm
get mentioned
saying,
quite a bit.
In general, like, now, I think that will fade away. But people love Neymar still. Like, he's entertaining to watch. Like, the two of them, they're the ones. No one's thinking. You get Salah as well. In fairness, especially culturally, Salah is a bit of an icon. But yeah, the stars are fading away. Like, we don't get Cantonas anymore.
Jeez.
Yeah, but
Jeez. On that, I think. Well, on that slightly down note, because we're running out of time.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's, I don't know, better or worse is the right thing to look at, but definitely very, very different from when we started watching. But with that being said, I'm wrapping up before we keep going because we're going over time already, and we could probably keep going on this for an hour. But that's just about everything we had to talk about today. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at 442. Subscribe wherever you get your podcast. Send us your old school favorite players. Why not? Tony will argue with you and tell you why you're wrong.
No. Anyway,
Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining me, Tommy.
Yeah, I'll just add it. It would be Zidane. I just watching highlight reels of Zidane and his touch and his
I'm with you
dribbling.
there,
And
bro.
there we go.
I am in
Yeah.
with you there.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. Thank you for joining me, Tony.
Pleasure as always. Enjoyed the chat, boys.
Yeah, well, and if anyone cares, it's the original Ronaldo for me. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.